Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to When the Shift Hits the Fan. My name's Mark Jeffrey, and I'm here again, once again, my beautiful co-host, Linda Lehman. Welcome back, partner.
Welcome back to you, too. We've had quite the adventures.
We surely have. It's been an amazing time. And actually, I was listening to the music just before we started here. I was kind of getting a little lost in that. I think I'm just a little too relaxed from our time off here, my friend.
You know what? There's nothing wrong with that.
That's what I'm thinking. And, I was thinking about that. And I know we're gonna be talking about new beginnings tonight because even during the time we were off and different people that we meet and we do a lot of speaking engagements and different things that we do and, consulting, all the things we do that we do know that people out there are struggling. And we want to take just this half an hour at the beginning of this year to, say in our own way that you need to put the past behind you. I mean, you really have to let go of it. You have to slam the damn door and really look at this. And I know I talked a little bit about it on another show that I did this morning with the Joint Marketing Alliance. But people tend to do something. And I think, Linda, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's a learned thing that, you take all your mistakes and you figure out what you learn from it, and then you come over here and you try to do something different with it. And I'm a firm believer that just doesn't work because you're still dragging that crap into your new beginning.
Exactly, Mark. It takes more than just saying, okay, I'm going to learn from these mistakes, and then I'm going to move on, and then immediately jump into something different. And the reason it doesn't just immediately work with the snap of the fingers is because up to probably 90% of our behavior, and that includes the things we do, the things we think about, how we react or respond to things, it's all habitual. This is a process that's happened over time. A habit is any actions or thoughts or behaviors that you repeat over and over and over again, and then those things become a habit. And so you can't just flip the switch and say, okay, I'm done with that, and expect it to completely be gone without effort, true effort on your part. It's just like, I'm sure if you really stop and think about it, you put the same leg in your pants every time. You start with the left leg or you start with the right leg. But it's a habit. Or brushing your teeth in the morning or before you go to bed. That's all habits. And that was formed because you repeated that same action over and over and over again. And so if you were to say this morning, okay, I'm going to go put my pants on using my other leg, just give you a little word of advice, be standing next to a chair or a bed because chances are you're going to fall over.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. And that's why we have backward days. We talked about this, oh gosh, Linda, I think it was one of maybe the first shows that we did about changing up things in your life so your body gets used to patterns. Mm-hmm. And if you're always surprising it, and newfound studies, right, about diets, don't eat the same thing every day, your body will just adjust to it, you'll still gain weight back, blah, 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 blah. That's how we are. And it's habitual. It's what we do. And if you don't consciously think differently about everything, I try to do this. I sleep on one side of the bed. I know some of you can't because you have partners. I don't. I can sleep wherever I want. I just have to kick the cat off. But I sleep on one side of the bed or the other. I watch TV in different places that, I drive a different way to the store, constantly changing things because I find, for me, I fall into, that dazed and glazed overlook, and everybody's done this, where you got to a destination and you can't remember how you kind of got there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's because your subconscious mind was actually driving your car.
Mhm.
That's where you plant your habits. And so you were off thinking about, daydreaming about something else,
Mhm.
and subconscious mind was driving your car.
Yeah, it just said, I know how to get there. Here we go.
Yeah, here we go. If something immediately needed your attention, within a snap, you'd be right back at it, paying close attention, because it would be something that was out of the norm of the usual trip.
Right, and that's the thing. And that's why you guys out there, think about that. Like you hit a piece of ice and your car slides, and I know some of you live there. You hit a turtle. Oh, God forbid you do that. But whatever it is, you're shocked into paying attention. And that's why we're talking about this. Like shock yourself into paying attention this year. Just decide. Like get out that big, bold felt pen and a great big piece of paper and write as hard and as forceful and with as much passion as you can. I leave the past behind. It didn't serve me well, or I wouldn't be sitting where I am, and I'm going to do something different starting today, right now.
And make that effort. Make a conscious effort that you're going to disrupt these habits, because those old habits are not going to die easily. They're going to put up a fight, and that's okay, because as they're putting up a fight, you know that you're on the right track. But the only way that you can change or move forward or have a different life than what you're living right this very minute is to disrupt this, and it is to make that diligent, committed effort to make a change. Mark, one of the things that I made the commitment to myself to do over the last couple of years, really, is to truly focus on building my intuition, working on that mental muscle and paying closer attention to it, listening to it instead of ignoring it, and being aware of when it's screaming at me. And it paid off. And somebody would think, oh no, it wasn't that, but it truly was. We were driving to Houston. One of the fun things I did over our break is I went and saw my beloved team, the Arkansas Razorbacks, play in a bowl game in Houston, and we won. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was driving, and we were coming into Houston, and there were, 4 lanes of interstate traffic, and actually I was really impressed because the speed limit was 75, which is kind of different. We usually on our interstates in Florida top out at 70. But so we were all going at a pretty good clip, and it was so funny because I was coming up beside not a semi, but a truck it's like a semi but a little bit shorter, and it was a company that I was familiar with, and I was coming up by it, and I was thinking to myself that I was going to tell Randy about the fact that particular company was just bought out by somebody else, and all of a sudden my intuition started screaming at me, stop! And so I immediately started slamming on my brakes. If I hadn't have done that, Mark, just as I was pushing on the brakes, I caught out of the corner of my eye a pickup truck that was coming up behind that truck in the lane next to me, and he did this little zigzag and cut right in front of me to get around that truck. And if I had not slammed on my brakes then, if I'd waited until I saw him coming up, it would have been too late. We would have been in an accident.
Yeah. And people, you're right, Linda, people just, we call them sheeples, the little peoples out there that go through life thinking, and here it is, and I'm going to lay it right out there, thinking that where I am and where all the things that are going on in my life I have no control over. And I didn't see that one coming. Well, you did. You just didn't pay attention to it, and you didn't do what Linda is doing as well, is paying attention to things. Like I've always had that, I think from when I was little, because it's like an ingrained thing with me. I can see trouble coming like from a mile off. And I don't know what it is yet, whenever it is in my life, but I know something's coming my way. And it's a particular feeling that I get throughout my body. It just is. And whenever I felt that way, yep, I mean, there was nothing I could do about it, but I knew something was coming. So internally, I was prepared for it, though. So I was in better stead. Like, I'll give you an example. Just like people would lose their jobs and be, devastated by it because they didn't see it coming. Something like that, I would know weeks in advance, and I would know it. It would be a work-related thing or a relationship because it would happen when I was in the environment that it would happen, right? And that, it. And that's like when people say, oh, I didn't know he was cheating, or all of that stuff. Y'all do know. Either you choose to ignore it because you're hoping for a better outcome, or you're just not paying attention and you're just a sheeple going through life. But every single person that's out there, I don't care who's listening here tonight, who's listening to the replay, wherever you are, you have control, and you need to hone that.
Right, and it doesn't happen overnight. As I said when I was relating my story, it took me a good 2 years of focused effort to really start paying attention to my intuition, to where I could almost automatically or habitually be aware of it, and actually do something about it. So with any change, these habits, we'll go back to that, these habits determine your results, whatever the results are. And some of the habits that you develop serve you well, but other habits maybe not so much. And those not so much habits are what we're really talking about tonight, and those are the ones that need to be replaced so that you can move forward. If you're not where you want to be, say in terms of money or your job, relationships, health, you really want to take a close look at what you're habitually doing and what you're habitually thinking, and be totally honest with yourself.
Well, you know what? I was going to say the same thing, Linda. I thought, to me, I'm thinking you might want to get the guts to talk to a friend or somebody to say, how do you feel about this? Like people who are habitually late, think it's okay. Other people in the world think not so much. There's all those things. And I think you're right, Linda, it's the honesty part. But you're by yourself, okay? You're standing, and we talk about this all the time, standing in front of that mirror. Have that conversation with yourself and it's hard. Man, it's hard because we always want to be accepted. We want to be loved by everybody. So it's hard to say, you know what, I'm a complete yo-yo brain when it comes to whatever it is. I mean, I've had those moments with myself. I'm sometimes too abrupt with people. It's just the way I think inside. I'm fast thinking, so I talk that way, as if you guys might have noticed.
Really? Oh, I love you for that. But Mark, when you're having that conversation with yourself in the mirror and you're being brutally honest, nobody's there, I like to recommend not to call yourself names.
Oh, yeah, no.
Start out with forgiveness. Forgive yourself. You didn't know any better. And say, hey, you know what? I'm learning something new. And I'm learning that I can move forward, and I need to let go of some of this stuff that I've been hanging on to. And so I'm going to forgive myself for that. Use it as the lesson it's intended to be used for, and this is what I'm going to do differently now.
The now part's important, people. You can't procrastinate on that. When you're standing there and you make that determination, and you know what? When you start off, that's the thing, Linda. I think that's going to be really difficult for people to not beat themselves up about things. You know what? We're all human. We're just human beings. And I had a conversation actually with my daughter. We took off for a while to go to Cancun and stuff. And, I just said, when I was with you and my only child, I said I wasn't a perfect parent. Oh, Lord be, I've never been a parent. So how could I be any good at it? I tried my best, made a hell of a lot of mistakes, and just crossed my fingers that, she wouldn't hate me when she got to be 18, that she turned out not to be a bank robber or mass murderer or something. That's all you can do sometimes, like Linda said. You don't know any better, and you got to understand you did the best you could. But that's why, with the second, third, or 15th kid, people get a lot better at things. But that's it. But it's like we talk about all the time. You never got in a car or on your little tricycle, from your tricycle to your bicycle. You weren't perfect at doing that. You fell down, you scraped your knees. You have to remember that you're not doing that anymore, though. You jump on a bike and you just go. But you had to make some adjustments and changes, from driving into the bushes, driving off the curb, all of those things. You had to become steady. And that's the core inside you that you have there today. No matter what you're facing, I don't care what it is, inside you, there's a little person going, I can do this.
No, absolutely.
Just feed it. Make it big.
Make it big. Recognize that you want to make a change. I mean, it was Albert Einstein. I love this. Something to the effect, he said, insanity is when you continue to do the same things over and over again, but yet you expect different results. As long as
we all do that.
We do, but as long as we're continuing to do the same things, we get up, we're frustrated, we go to a job we hate, we come home, we plop ourselves in front of the TV, we eat out 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 times a week, and then we wonder why we continue to put on weight instead of release weight. We wonder why we can't seem to get ahead, get a better job. But what are you doing differently?
Yeah, and it's determination too, guys. Like I'm going to just tell you, I'm going to go back in time a little bit, because this is something that changed my life dramatically when I was in law school. And it's tough. Like you just can't go to law school. You got to be that. It's all consuming. And it's like a doctor, surgeon, stuff like that. It's those professions that, and you know what? It's not that they're not for everybody because people don't have the intelligence for them. Most people don't have the endurance for it, and that's why they do what they do. That's why they make you stay up all night, why they make you do all these briefs and everything that you know they're going to throw in the garbage, why they make a resident have 14,000 hours. They want to know if you can endure this. But at that time, all my friends were, taking whatever courses they could to get a degree in anything. Like, oh, lit, that sounds good. Let's become a art major or something. All of those things. And I'm not going to belittle that. I just want to tell you that I had to stay home. I lived in Pasadena at the time. I had, probably at times 15 roommates, having a lot of noise, going out partying, having a great time. I had to stay home. I had to go to school. I had to be a lawyer. And that made me strong for all of my life because I had a choice to make. I was smart enough, actually, I think, that I could pass a lot of the exams and do things, but I'm kind of a rule player too, Linda, and people would find that kind of interesting. I mean, that's why the law interests me, because there is a line. And there's lines I don't cross in my life, and there's reasons for that because I believe in certain things. But I had to, for myself, stay the line, the course, the way it was laid out for me, to prove to myself that the wildcat heart that I have inside me that wants to be reckless can toe that line. And it's served me for all of my life because, I can take weeks off and I can have a blast. I don't care. I don't think about work. But when I'm coming back here and I'm an entrepreneur and my life depends on my business, I'm working. And there's nothing that's going to stop me. So when we're talking, Linda, about habits, like you got to be in it to win it.
Right. If what you're trying to make difference, and I think one of the things that we wanted to talk about tonight was, why New Year's resolutions don't work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's because resolutions you set because you're interested in it, or you're talking with your friends and it sounds like a good idea. To make change that sticks, true change, true growth, that'll get you to those dreams that you have, this big desire that you have. Number one, you have to have the big desire. Number two, instead of just having an interest in achieving it, you have to be committed and you have to be persistent at it. Otherwise, 2 weeks down the road, you're going to throw in the towel. You're not going to go for it. The very first obstacle, the very first bump in the road, you're done. You're not going to pursue it anymore. It takes between 27 and 30 days to form a new habit. So if you're giving up in 2 weeks, too bad, so sad. It's done. It's over. So you have to be committed to it. You have to repeat the thoughts and the behaviors, the new ones that you want to have. You need to repeat those over and over and over again, because it's the repetition of that stuff that's not serving you that got planted in there and became a habit. And so it's going to take repetition of what you do want, the thinking and the behaviors, the actions, repetition of that over and over and over again before the new habit's going to stick and kick out that old habit.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you don't make a resolution just because it's, whatever, December 31st or you missed the mark and you went on January 2nd, I don't care. Because everybody else is doing it and somebody asked you and you just throw something out there. And there's a difference between, I will just use weight. I want to release weight I want. That's not a commitment to anything. I am going to. That's a commitment. And if you're finding yourself going, I want to become an entrepreneur one day, Lisa. What? Ain't going to happen. People say, well, I want to do that. Well, when you can come back to me and say you are going to do it, that's when I know you're trainable, you're coachable, and you're going to hang in there. And I'm not wasting my time.
No, I want to hear I am and I will.
That's why all of these gyms used to have all of these one-year commitment contracts. Of course, it's all been outlawed, I think, in most places, even in the United States, because they knew people would sign up and I'm in it. Yeah, I'm going to do it. But they had no intention to, and then 3 months they're trying to get their money back because they haven't been since, I don't know, the fourth day.
Right.
If you're committed to this, I'll tell you what, do what I do. I got the meanest bloody trainer there is, and that person will drive over here and drag my fat ass out of bed if I don't show up. Honest to true.
You need to send that trainer down here on those days where it's raining and I don't want to go outside.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, she'd be there. And then then you're going to have a worse workout because she's going to be wet and mad.
Yep.
So, but that's the thing. Like, I had to do that because I'm like that. I'm going. It's minus 30 out here. To you, that's still minus 30 there too. We get even along the way here. It's cold. I don't want to go anywhere. I want to do anything. But as soon as I'm done with the show tonight, if I'm not there, she will be here, and I don't want her to be here because if she's here, I'm going to have the worst time of my life. But I had to hire her to do that because I know I'd be going, it's too cold. I'd come up with something. I know me. I'm like you guys. I'm human too, but I get what I need to make me do stuff. So I say this. We've got a boot camp coming up here. We're telling everybody, get an accountability partner. Somebody that say, hey, I'm in this, I'm going to do this, but, I'm going to have homework and I need you to make sure I get it done. Like, whatever you need to do, whatever you have to do to change, get some help getting there if you can't do it on your own.
Oh, exactly. Take off that what is it called? The bravado mask. Take that off. Asking for help takes courage. And that's the first step a lot of times is to ask somebody else to help you. Ask somebody to hold you accountable. We're not all perfect. If we were, it'd be terribly boring out there. We all need help. We get to our goals, we get to our dreams, not by ourselves, but through the help of other people. So don't be ashamed to ask for help.
Oh, and do you think that Linda and I just got here? No, I trained with Tony Robbins for years.
And I trained
years.
Bob Proctor. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't just make it up, oh, come on, Linda, let's have a show. No. We went through hell and all the things in our lives, the cancers that we conquered, the things that we've done, our successful businesses, who we are as people today. Some people go, oh, you're mightier than thou. No, you know what? Here's my badge. I earned it.
Mhm. Exactly.
And you're all going to be able to say that too.
You are. You are. And don't think that we don't trip every once in a while. We do. And that's why we have each other to say, hey, what are you thinking?
Mostly it's Linda telling me that, but.
Yeah, no. I appreciate it, but no.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, yeah, what we wanted to end up here tonight is giving you hope. There is a new beginning for everybody, but it's your choice. It's your choice all the way down the line.
Mhm. Exactly. Exactly. You know, empower yourself. As I said before, and Mark tag teamed onto that. You know, accept yourself for where you are now. You've done a wonderful job, absolutely wonderful job of getting where you are now with the knowledge that you had.
Mm-hmm.
Every single day you're gaining new knowledge, and now you know that you can make the change. It's going to take work. Empower yourself right now by taking 100% responsibility for all of your successes and all of your failures. Right now, just say, it's all me. Because when you acknowledge that you're 100% responsible for absolutely everything that you've created up to this point, then and only then can you take charge of your life and create the future that you truly want and you truly deserve. But you got to take that responsibility. And that day, that responsibility starts right now.
Yep, for sure. You know, and you have to have a different perspective of things. I have a friend that's getting married for the third time. Throughout the time that this happens, I mean, she was really down, like going, what am I doing wrong, and blah, 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 and all this stuff, because we were, you know, all these external things. It was the perception that she got from other people. Well, you know, that's too bad, you know, all of those wacky things. And all I said to her one day is, I said, you know what, I admire you. I totally do, that you could see that a relationship was not working and get out of it without wallowing in self-pity or dragging everybody down with you. You just took a look one day and said, this isn't working, and had the guts to walk away from it, knowing what you would face by all the other people, you know, thinking you're a failure. I don't think so. You're a hero to me. And I think that's what people need to do too. Be the hero in your own life.
Absolutely. I love that. We'll have to use that as a quote. Be a hero. Be the hero in your own life.
Yeah, because get some of that. Stop feeling like you have to be perfect and that everything you did and nothing worked out and all of that stuff. You just have to simply let it go. Let it go.
Yeah, dump it in the garbage. It's like the. I love this analogy Wayne Dyer uses. It's like the wake of a boat. You know, when you're in a boat, the wake or the waves behind the boat that the motor causes.
Mm-hmm.
They can't do anything to steer the boat. Once they're gone, they're gone. And it's like your past. It's like the crap. Once it's done, it's done. You can't change it. And it can't steer you unless you allow it to. So let it go. Let it just float back behind you, the boat, and let it go.
Oh, and here we're down at the last minute of our half an hour here, but we're going to be back next week. We've got more to talk about on this stuff. We do have a boot camp coming up. If you guys want to be a part of it, then let us know as well. It's either like marksview.com, lindalehman.com. You can find more about us there. When the ship hits the fan, more about us there. If all I do tonight is let you know that you're an awesome individual and you just need to color outside the lines a little bit, then I feel good about tonight, because I know it's going to be hard. I know it is going to be hard. I get you.
Mm-hmm. And what else tag team onto that is that, yeah, it's going to be hard, but we're here to help you. All you have to do is reach out your hand to us, and we're already there to grab it for you.
Yeah, and it's going to be worth it because you are.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So we want to, again, thank everyone for, this has been an amazing journey for both Linda and I. We're learning as we go too, because we get to interact with everybody. We just want to, tell you that we're so grateful for everyone that tunes in and listens to us every week, and we hope in some little teeny-weeny way that we've made your life better tonight. So, Linda, that's what I have for everybody.
And, I'd like to say the same thing. I'm truly grateful for everyone who's either listening live or tuning in when it's more convenient for you. And we thank you. You actually give us strength to continue on with your questions, your comments, and the fact that you let us know that, hey, what you said last week really helped me a lot. So from the bottom of my heart, I say thank you, because that builds us up even bigger to want to try harder to help each and every one of you.
Absolutely. So, my friends from Mark here in -30 Canada, good night.
And from Linda down here in, I think it's cold, 60 Florida, good night.
Good night, everybody.